most common thing that people ask me about living out here is, Brad, don't you get scared in the middle of the night when you're out in the middle of nowhere alone? Well, up until a few weeks ago, my answer was nah. But then something really terrifying happened. Yes, there are a lot of things that do happen at nighttime out here, like all of those nocturnal creatures come to life. I mean, you hear the possums go boom on the roof like constantly. And I'm kind of used to that from living in Melbourne. In an old terrace house in Kensington, there used to be like 8 p.m. like clockwork. The possums would just like bound on the roof. But the thing is, the possums out here in the country are a lot heftier. But I mean, the point is that the bang on the roof didn't freak me out. There was another thing that kind of put me on edge, and that was hearing the voices of humans. Even if it was the middle of the day and there's no one around, and you can hear like the murmur of voices getting progressively louder, that scared the shit out of me. But I soon learned that the road out here is where a lot of cyclists love to, spend their Sunday afternoons. They love having chats too, so that kind of explained the voices. But the thing that's happened most recently is a little bit less explainable, and yeah, sleeping at night time now is a little harder than it was a few weeks ago because of the incident. So Guy was out here recently, and he came in with like a bit of a puzzled look on his face in the morning. And he was like, "Did you take Stevie's toys out into the middle of the roundabout?" And I was like, "No, like, why would I do that?" He's like, "Well, that's weird because overnight they've moved." And I was like, "Well, okay, maybe a possum took them, but it doesn't seem very likely." The next morning, I came out to put my shoes on to go and get firewood or whatever because, it's fucking freezing. And one of my sandals had gone. And I clearly remembered it being there the night before. And I was like, okay, well, something's come right up to our back step and taken it. So that kind of put me on edge. What was even scarier is that when I went for a little walk around the property, I came across it and it has a big gash out of it. And I have no idea how that happened or what picked it up. And I'm terrified. I don't know what's going on out here. If you've got any idea as to what creature in Victoria, Australia, comes and steals shoes in the middle of the night, please put my mind at ease and let me know. Might have noticed I've done a little bit more complaining about the weather lately. I hate it so much. It's just because it's the start of winter, which is like obviously the most bleak time of year there is. I mean, look around at this fog. It is depressing as all hell out here. But I have recently moved my workspace inside the house rather than being out in my little office, just because it's impossible to keep warm out there. What was that? It is impossible to keep warm. and I'm just getting chilblains, which are really painful. So it just made sense for me to move my desk into the middle of the lounge right next to the fire, so it's a little bit more comfortable. And that'll be me for the next 3 months. But I've found that I am in the house all day. I don't get up from my desk. I'm just sitting there. So I'm forcing myself to go for a little stroll before the day starts in the morning, so I can, get a little bit of oxygen in my lungs. But let me tell you, it is bleak.